David Haye will make his comeback to boxing when he fights Mark Deorey next month, and we can speak live to him from his gym in Vauxhall. David, good morning to you. Thank you very much for coming on. I can see you've got a little friend in the ring with you, very much in the Christmas spirit, it seems.
I'm trying the best I can to be in the Christmas spirit, but I've got to be here, unfortunately, in the gym. So the best I could do is bring a blow-up Santa to remind me that it's Christmas. As you said, I've got a big fight coming up January 16th against Mark Deorey. So it's 22 days away now, so I'm right in the thick of things and got to make sure that I'm in tip-top condition. So unfortunately, I won't be stuffing my face with mince pies and indulging like everybody else is.
So is it actually quite difficult to get motivated on a day like this when you know everybody else is out there having fun?
Not really. You know, I've had 3.5 years out of the ring. I've had a 3.5-year layoff from being in the ring fighting, so I've had plenty of Christmases to let myself go. But now it's time for work. You know, it's been such a long time since I've been in the ring. 3.5 years for any fighter or any athlete is a long period to be out of what they do best. So I know I need every single day, every single hour has to be methodical. My diet has to be perfect. You know, I've got to sleep. I can't be drinking any alcohol. I've got to be 100% because, you know, on January 16th at the O2 Arena, you know, I'm going to have to show that I'm the best heavyweight on the planet. And because there's some young guys out there, Anthony Joshua's looking amazing, Tyson Fury's just won a title. So we've got a whole new crop of heavyweights, exciting heavyweights, and I want to chuck my name in the mix. And to do that, I've got to not only win, but I've got to look good doing so.
Well, Rachel and I in the studio here, David, we feel your pain on all of that, but at least we can go home and eat what we like. You've mentioned the mince pies, you've mentioned your diet. The viewers actually do want to know what you can actually have on Christmas Day.
I've got a nutritionist, Aidan Goggins, who works with No-Yo Foods, who prepare all my food daily to make sure that I'm getting all the nutrients and all the minerals and all that good stuff. And today I've looked at it, it's a nut roast and steamed vegetables and lentils and quinoa and all this healthy stuff that most people would push right to the side of the table as they get stuck into, as I said, all their mince pies and chocolates and whatnot. But it's a sacrifice worth making. After the 16th of January, once I've won my fight, I can have my Christmas then.
It does seem like you're really enjoying being back to boxing and back in the sport. Is that right? How does it feel compared to maybe when you first started out?
It's completely different. You know, I've been to the top. I know what it's like. I know what it takes to get there. You know, I've had a very frustrating low 3.5 years since my last fight, which is a win against Deorey. I knocked him out in 5 rounds, and I haven't been able to get back in the ring through sheer injuries. It's been very frustrating. I got a cut eye. I had to have a big operation on my right shoulder, a full reconstruction of my right shoulder. So I've been completely out of the game, and it's been horrible. So now that I'm physically able to do what I've been doing since I was a little kid, I'm so happy. You know, I don't mind training on Christmas because I know that I'm going to go out there at the O2 Arena. It's got a packed-out house of all my fans to show them what I know I can do. I've been so frustrated not being able to show, you know, my boxing ability because I've been in a hospital bed for most of the time. So I'm really happy with where I am. I'm 35 years old now. I'm no spring chicken, but you know, I believe I'm a young 35-year-old who hasn't had too many punches to the head, so I've still kind of got a few faculties left bubbling around in there.
Do you feel that you actually still have to prove that you are the same David Haye as you were last time you fought back in 2012?
Definitely, without a doubt. You know, everybody's a skeptic, really. You know, they'd love to believe that the old David Haye is going to be here. You know, I'm not looking to be the old David Haye. I'm looking to be a new and improved David Haye. I want to be, you know, Hayemaker 2.0. You know, I believe what I did in the past was good. It was good enough to win the world title. It was good enough to unify the cruiserweight title. But I want to go one step further now. You know, I want to be bigger, faster, stronger. You know, I've teamed up with Shane McGuigan, a new coach who's amazing. He trains Carl Frampton, the super bantamweight world champion. So, you know, I've got a great new team, a young, fresh, vibrant team around me who I believe are going to take me to new levels. And, you know, I just want to bring, you know, just accumulate all of these world title belts. Exciting times in the heavyweight division and in Britain in general, with a lot of, you know, great fights going down. And I just want to get in amongst it. I want to get back, and because I'm sitting in the sidelines for so long watching these guys do it and just missing it, wanting to be in the ring and I haven't had the opportunity, but now it's finally here, you know, and people are excited. I'm excited that they're excited. That's why I'm boxing. It's an entertainment. It's a sport of entertainment, and I've been entertaining people since I was a little kid, and it's nice to know I can still do that.
Yeah, you were saying there that you're going to have to be at your best, and especially looking at this heavyweight division at the moment. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. So you're going to have to be new and improved, David Haye, like you said, to get back to the very top.
Yeah, these guys you mentioned, these, you know, Tyson Fury 6'10", Deontay Wilder 6'7", Anthony Joshua 6'6", 6'7". These are big guys. The guys are a lot bigger than myself. You know, a lot more physically strong than I am. You know, I believe I'm a lot faster than those guys. I've got the experience for sure on these guys, but it makes it for interesting matchups. You know, if I was to be pitted against Anthony Joshua, for instance, you know, he's nearly 10 years younger than myself. He's a lot bigger, a lot stronger. You know, I'm faster. I've got more experience. You know, I've got a better pedigree in terms of on my professional resume. So it'll make a real interesting in matchups. You know, against any of those three opponents you mentioned. But I'm just happy, you know, that people are now chucking my name out there, because before I was retired, you know, people, you know, thought, okay, David's never coming back. But now here I am, training camp's going great, sparring's hard, and you've got some good big names and big personalities that will, I believe, gel with mine, and we can have some really big fights out there in future.
You've just been seeing Anthony Joshua in action, David. Now, you've made no secret of the fact that you would like to fight him. It does sound like that might take a little bit more time. You might fight someone else before you, maybe even 2 more fights. Do you feel that that's the right decision for him now, thinking as Anthony Joshua?
As Anthony Joshua's very, very good fighter. You know, he's unbeaten. He's knocked every single one of his opponents out. He had a big test in his last fight against Dillian Whyte, and Dillian Whyte was an unbeaten prospect who'd beaten Anthony Joshua in the amateurs, and he passed that. I was there, I was commentating for Sky, and he passed with flying colours that night. It was an entertaining fight. He asked some questions. People always said, what happens if Anthony Joshua gets hit on the chin? Well, he got hit on the chin a good few times, and he sucked it up. He showed heart, he showed courage, he showed bottle, and he knocked out Dillian Whyte conclusively, no questions asked after it. And I believe that, you know, he's one of the best fighters on the planet, and that's why I'm in the game. I'm in the game to try to compete with these big guys, young guys. And if I was to fight him, I'm sure there would be people who believe that Anthony Joshua would beat me. I love the thought of that. I love the thought of getting into a fight where people aren't quite sure. But what happens if I tag Anthony Joshua? Can he take my power? All these things are unknown. You know, I think he needs maybe 1 or 2 more fights before he'd be ready for someone on my level. But, you know, if he wants to do that before, let's go for it. You know, I'm a professional fighter. This is what I've been doing since I was a kid. I've got my fight against Mark Deorey at the O2 Arena lined up. So once that's out of the way, then we can talk about it. But I think he's looking at fighting again in April, I believe, and maybe someone like Derek Chisora, who'll be a good measuring stick, a good test for him. You know, he's someone who hasn't quite made it at top level. I knocked out Derek Chisora in 5 rounds. Can Anthony Joshua knock him out quicker than that? Maybe he could. It'd be interesting to see. But I think definitely to the later part, maybe the summer or later on in the year, if that's a fight that Anthony Joshua would want, then it's a fight that can be made.
I know that you're concentrating on Deorey, but I do have to ask you about Deontay Wilder, because you know him well, and he says that everybody is afraid to fight him. 1, how good is he? And 2, I'm assuming you're not afraid to fight him, David.
No, he's very good. Yeah, he's got 34 victories with 33 knockouts. Only one of his opponents has managed to last a distance. He's a very good fighter, good jab, big, tall guy, good amateur pedigree also. He hasn't fought the best of opponents as yet, but as he said, not a lot of people are wanting to jump in the ring and fight him. He's got a big fight against a guy called Alexander Povetkin after this next guy. I think he's fighting a guy called Spitka from Poland, I'd never heard of. But once he gets this guy out of the way, we're going to see how good he is when he fights Alexander Povetkin, who is a former world champion and a proven entity. But I believe he's very good. I believe he's very charismatic. He's a big guy. He looks good, and he's a power puncher. So he's just another exciting addition to the heavyweight division. And he's a WBC champion, and he's American. You know, he's got a lot of hype around him in the States. And I think that you know, guys like Anthony Joshua, guys like Deontay Wilder, really do make heavyweight boxing exciting. You know, big knockouts. People want to see knockouts. People don't want to see, you know, points decision, clinching, holding. People want to see knockouts. That's why people tune in to see the big guys. So Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder do that in abundance, you know. So, and myself, you know, 24 of my 26 victories have come via knockout. So that's why people tune in to see me.
A final question. I know you want to get back to your nut loaf, but yeah, we've got to talk about now that Tyson Fury, now that we've talked about Wilder and Joshua.
Yeah.
Now, would you have an advantage against Tyson Fury ahead of most people because you've already beaten Valuev? Do you see similarities?
Not too many series. Valuev was a lot bigger than Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury has made, I think, one of the first statements as unified champion was that he's not fighting David Haye. He said the one person he's never going to fight is me, and he'll throw his titles in the bin rather than fight me. So he's definitely a name that I'm not worrying about. He's already had one of his world titles taken away from him, so I wouldn't be surprised if the other two at some stage get taken off him if he keeps sort of signing the deals that he's signing. But he's got to go back to Germany and fight Vladimir Klitschko again. It was a fantastic night for him, a fantastic night for British boxing, for Tyson Fury to somehow manage to, you know, manoeuvre that title outside of Germany, because I didn't think that was going to happen for a long time. But, you know, it's the new guard. You know, Vladimir Klitschko's 40 years old. You know, Tyson Fury, you know, his late 20s. So, you know, at some stage, you know, the old guy's got to go out and lead the way for the young guns, and that's exactly what happened, I believe. It'd be interesting to see the rematch. You know, it wasn't a very attractive fight in terms of punches thrown and landed. It was a very sort of, it was a very grab and hold and clinch. It was a very ugly fight to watch. But the bottom line is the result was fantastic for Tyson Fury. And it's a shame that some of the comments he's made since then have kind of overshadowed the fantastic achievement that he did by winning the unified titles.
David, we've really enjoyed speaking to you today, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Have a great Christmas, everyone. And tickets are still on sale for January 16th. So you want to see some boxing, come down. Merry Christmas.
Got to get that in, doesn't he?
Well, David Haye says that the prospect of unifying the heavyweight division was his main motivation to finally return to the ring. The former WBA heavyweight champion launches his latest comeback with a bout against Mark Deorey in January, who is unbeaten now in 11 years. Haye has been busy preparing for that contest on Christmas Day and has big plans as well to shake up the division in 2016.
It's a lot more interesting. The last 10 years, you've had Vladimir Klitschko was probably the leader. And he's very boring from Germany, very sort of economical, very unentertaining. Now you've got Tyson Fury, he's just beaten him, so he's got the titles, or he's had one of those titles taken away from him. You've got Deontay Wilder in the States, you've got young Anthony Joshua, looked fantastic, you know, a couple of weeks ago, knocking out Dylan White, looked fantastic, you know, really got the heavyweight division, you know, buzzing. So there's lots of big fights out there, lots of exciting young heavyweights who can, you know, who all got great punching power, you know, big personalities, and that's what people miss in the heavyweight division is personalities, and it's missed it for a little while. But I think this is a really good time to sort of get back into the heavyweight division. My whole mission at the moment is January 16th. You know, I'm fighting a guy who hasn't lost in 11 years, a guy called Mark Deorey from Australia. You know, he's a lot heavier than me. You know, he's big punching, very, very strong. So I need to get back in there. I'm looking good in the gym, hitting the bags, hitting the pads, hitting sparring partners. But when the lights are on with little gloves, you never know. You know, I believe I know in my heart what I'm going to do, but, you know, the outside people aren't quite convinced just yet. You know, they've heard a lot of talk from me for the last few years. I've had a stop-start comeback career, and I just really get in there and just say, OK, reserve your opinions till you see me in the ring doing what I'm doing. And I just can't wait to get out there and, you know, show. I'm a natural-born fighter. I just want to show people what I can do. You know, and I've got a good opponent. You know, he's ranked number 10 by the WBA in the world. So it's a good step back in after 3.5 years, I believe. And the O2 Arena is going to be buzzing and excited because you know, I think I'm a better version of myself now at 35 than I was at 30.
We're just looking at his headband throughout that chat.
Yes, now to a big name in boxing for you. David Haye returns to the ring next month against Australian Mark Deorey, but he already has his eyes on a domestic super fight with Anthony Joshua next summer. Haye believes it could be a classic fight.
He should be excited, you know. I talked to Anthony Joshua the other day. He thinks it's great that I'm coming back. You know, in the time that I've been injured out of the ring, he's had his whole professional boxing career. You know, when I was world heavyweight champion, you know, before he actually started boxing. So, you know, these guys have seen me since they've got into boxing, and now I'm coming back. It just brings excitement and brings entertainment. And I'm sure these guys are thinking, oh, he's smaller than me, he's older than me, I could get rid of this guy. And that's what makes for great fights. You know, if I was to, you know, if Eddie Hearn was to want that big fight, he was mentioning in a few interviews ago, not recently, but a few months back, about a big summer showdown with myself and Anthony Joshua. If that was to go ahead, how much that would capture the public's imagination. After his fight against Dillian Whyte, them talks are kind of quieting down a little bit. But I think it's a fight, you know, even if he wants it later in the year, it's a fight that I'd love to have. You know, I'm sure Anthony Joshua, he's a warrior, he's an Olympic champion. You know, he's undefeated. You know, he's riding high in confidence. I'm sure he'll feel he's physically superior to myself. He's a lot bigger, a lot stronger. You know, I think I'm a little faster. I think I'm a lot more experienced. So you've got the young versus the old, you know, experience versus the young, hungry lion. And I think, you know, that's an amazing fight that I'm sure the world would want to see. So, it's, you know, it's in their court, but, you know, let him do his thing. I think he's got a fight possibly with Dereck Chisora. That's been talked about. I think that's a good fight for him, to sort of a good little measuring stick. I knocked him out in 5 rounds. You know, I think he could probably knock Dereck Chisora out before that because of his sheer size and power. So it's good times for British boxing, and British heavyweight boxing in particular.